And that will be sent out either later on this evening or tomorrow morning. It depends on when we get that recording back. So just keep an eye out for that. Attached to that is going to be a questionnaire. We value your opinion as students and alumni here at WGU, constantly seeking your feedback to see how we can improve sessions that we can provide you all. So certainly take the time to fill that out, and it should take you no more than 2 minutes. I know people have started to drop in the chat where you calling in from, share your LinkedIn. I went on and talked about really expanding your professional network. So certainly take advantage of that. And without further ado, Alex, I will pass it over to you.
Perfect. No, thanks, RJ. So I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully everything works as intended, but if you have any issues seeing anything, feel free to let me know. Um, Everything look good, RJ? You
Nothing yet.
don't have anything yet? Okay, how about now?
There we go. We're good.
All right, perfect. Um, Great. Well, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. I know this is part of Career Quest. What I'm going to go through today, a background about UBC, which is the company I work for. That's shorthand for United BioSource Corporation. Introducing myself, my name is Alex Griffin. I am the Director of Talent Acquisition at UBC. I lead our global talent acquisition recruitment function that really hires globally. So we hire predominantly in the United States, but we do hire in Europe. We do hire in Canada, and we do have folks that we hire in Asia as well. But I'm really excited today to go through our organization and then hopefully a Q&A at the end of all this. So really what we're going to do starting out, we're going to get to know UBC a little bit. So for the next couple of minutes, I'm going to share a high-level overview of the history, leadership, mission, and then really what makes us unique as an organization. So really talking about UBC's history, and I'm going to take a step back just to tell you what UBC does. We're a clinical research organization. So basically, high level, and we'll dig in a little bit more. Like we partner with pharmaceutical companies when they outsource aspects of clinical trials. So our organization is headquartered in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, which is right outside of Philadelphia. We'll get to how many people in our other locations, but basically what we do is we partner with pharmaceutical companies when people are going through clinical trials, and then we hire folks that are a part of that journey in one way, shape, or form, and we'll get into a little bit more granular about that. But when we look at UBC history, we were founded in 2004 by a team of industry experts. They're passionate about innovation. They're driven by the vision to work side by side, work with the pharmaceutical and biotechnology organizations. And then really the goal was to provide safety, efficacy, and value of life-changing medical products. Again, going into that clinical research focus. So we really saw an opportunity to shape how scientific evidence is used across the healthcare industry, and we quickly developed a core strength in generating, analyzing, communicating real-world evidence throughout the product life cycle. So data from the clinical trial essentially is what we were able to find, how safe something was, some of the feedback from the product, and going from there. So the company grew from 2004 to 2010. In 2010, UBC was acquired by Medco. They invested more in the safety, efficacy, effectiveness, and the value services. In 2012, UBC became a part of Express Scripts, which is a very recognizable name, via Medco merger, which happened in 2012. Some of the parts of the business were divested. Throughout those next 6 years, UBC continued to grow. They were invested in through Express Script, and then eventually in the winter of 2017, they transitioned back to being a standalone organization and reestablished ourselves as a premier pharmaceutical service provider. So part of Express Scripts, and then kind of went and spun out and done our own thing through the backing of a venture capital or capital company called Avista Partners. So then in 2022, the organization expanded even more. We purchased two more companies, so Market Share Movers, which is a leading affordability services provider. So it complements our existing patient access services, which we'll get into a little bit what that means. We also acquired a company called Examoto, which was an industry leader in REMS, which is risk evaluation mitigation services technology. And that also strengthened our portfolio there. And then earlier this year, or I guess I guess last month in January, we announced that we acquired Evidino Outcomes Research, um, which really strengthens our evidence generation offerings with it's globally recognized in health economics and outcomes research, and they're based in Canada. This is our leadership team. One of the things to point out is like we have a lot of females who are leading within our organization, which is great. A lot of people have grown with that. Our president is Becky Bracken Brown. She's our president and CEO. When we also look at our segment leads, the three areas of business that we really focus on, which we'll get into, it's Nicole Heber, Aaron Berger, and Natalie O'Donnell are the ones. And then some of the other ones, different normal parts of the business, so financial, human resources, legal. Those are things that we focus on, as well as technology as well. So at UBC, we hold a unique position in the industry. So we partner with biopharma to modernize evidence generation, access pathways, ensuring therapies are safe, effective, and available to those who need them. So our vision, it is to power the future of biopharma by integrating real-world safety and access to transform how therapies reach and serve patients. And really what our purpose is through that, it's simple but powerful. So it's delivering patient access and outcomes through modernized evidence development. So everything we do is rooted in science, driven by data, and centered on improving lives. So I know I mentioned something earlier. It's really ensuring therapies are safe, effective, and available. Those are kind of what we look at when we look at the different parts of our business. So those three things, that's evidence development, which is really going to be like your clinical research. So that's really seeing how these products and drugs that are in clinical studies are being effective. There's the safety and risk management side, like how safe are those products? Like obviously if there's adverse effects or something like that, we want to make sure that those are notated in the trial. So it's something that's looked at, or it's something that's major concern, or maybe it's not a major concern. Patient access, that's where we do a lot of our hiring. Within that, this is really helping out the patient, the person who's going through the trial, and seeing how they can get it paid for by their insurance and everything like that. Make sure that they're aware of that. So different drug that they'd have that they may be eligible for. There's copay consulting, how it's paid for. Also some education as far as adherence and making sure that you're taking the drug the way that you're supposed to be taking the drug. So really, we partner with the biopharmaceutical industry to ensure the treatments are not only safe and effective, but accessible. And that's kind of where all three of these areas come into play. All right, so we are a global organization. So here's where we're located. We have brick and mortar in King of Prussia. So that's where I'm located. I go into our headquarters frequently. We're also in Lake Mary, Florida, which is in the Orlando area. We're in the Creve Coeur, Missouri area, which is in the St. Louis area. Morgantown, West Virginia, Uxbridge, England, and London, Madrid, Spain, and Geneva, Switzerland. Also, like talking about the Evidino acquisition, we do have location now in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada as well. One of the nice things, like I'm showing you these offices that we have, for the most part, our roles are virtual, which is nice. Like where some of our offices, if you're local, they do have events that you can go to. Like we had a holiday get together in December, but most of the people that we hire are not tied to an office and don't have to go to an office. So here's some of the benefits of working at UBC. So really one of the things that we really want to talk about. So at UBC, we celebrate our differences because we believe they make us stronger. We value each other's individuals' unique perspective, recognize how these diverse viewpoints enrich our decision-making and impact. So that goes back to our culture. So we have a strong foundation in diversity, equity, inclusion. Our teams promote engagement and participation, create an environment where everyone at UBC feels valued. Integrity guides everything we do for each other and for our patients. So really, we are committed to fostering that inclusive culture, one where everyone feels respected, valued, empowered to contribute. Our culture promotes collaboration, encourages engagement, and ensures the integrity guides everything we do for each other, for our clients, and most importantly, for the patients that we serve. So we look at it too, like where it's virtual, sometimes a little bit more difficult. Like the way of working was different 5-6 years ago, where you were in an office, you saw everybody, water cooler talk, lunches, things like that. It's a little bit different now, but there's still ways that we engage with our population and try to make it as collaborative as we possibly can. Just an overview of UBC. So UBC at a glance, we have over 1,800 team members. They're based in 10 countries. Then we have offices again, in the US, UK, Switzerland, Spain, and Canada. 60% of our leadership positions are held by women. And then one of the really nice things that we're proud of is our employees have an average employment term of 4.5 years, which is great. So there's tons of opportunity to stay in an organization, to grow, and to advance your career. Employee well-being and benefits. So we invest into our employees, obviously to have everything as far as like a total rewards package, and we want to make sure we're competitive in the marketplace. We want to emphasize the well-being of our employees as well as having that flexible work environment, which is so important to a lot of people. So we believe it's important to address the changing needs of our employees. Like we change our benefits to make it good for our employees continually as we continue to grow and as we want to have people be happy and grow within the organization. Some of the highlights that we have with the organization. So it's flexible work environment. For the most part, if the roles are in person, on site, like we will let you know beforehand. It's not like we'll pull the rug out from underneath you. We have advanced time off plans to support employees. So our hourly employees have an accrual-based time off, but our salary employees actually in the US definitely have a benefit where it's discretionary time off. So it's not necessarily unlimited where you can take 5 months off at a time and still have your job, but it's something that you do have more flexibility. It's not like a number that you track as far as employment or as far as out of office goes. We have medical, dental, vision, life insurance plan offering. I know we have 401k as well. We have employee assistance program and wellness initiatives. We have referral-based system as well. So if you have referrals, you want great people to join the organization that you work for. That's something that we reward that as well. And then the career growth goes along with that too at UBC. So these are our core values. This is really who, as an organization, like we believe that it's something that not only when you're working, you're showing these, but also throughout your life in whole. It's something that people really live by. So these are being collaborative. So we really want to maximize the potential of our colleagues and clients by working together. I think it's fairly self-explanatory. We want to be conscientious. So we want to, we're attentive to the demands of the ever-changing healthcare environment, and we're committed to excellence. Being curious. So we approach every opportunity with curiosity and being open-minded. We want to be consultative as well. We want to approach our biopharma customers as valued partners, seeking to identify, design, and implement optimal ways to bring safe, affordable, and accessible treatments to market. Then we also want to be compassionate as well. We are deliberate in delivering on our services, commitments, unifying a patient-first mindset, and care and consideration for our customers, colleagues, patients, and their families as well. So really, how do you join UBC? So if it's something that you're interested in joining the organization, I recommend that you go to our careers page at ubc.com/careers. These are the type of roles that we hire for, and we kind of break it down here into those different buckets that we talked about. So patient access, so that's how people are able, it's like the insurance side of things. How are people able to pay for the clinical trial that they're going through? We hire people within a case manager role, a reimbursement specialist. We have other clinical roles that we have, as well as nursing roles that we hire people for. Some of the roles, like the reimbursement specialist, sometimes they don't necessarily require any sort of specific experience, but sometimes it's good to have background within healthcare, billing, coding, reimbursement as far as insurance goes. Those definitely help within that. If we look at the safety and risk management, this is where we have coordinating center associates. So these are folks who are talking to patients about really the safety of these drugs. It's more of like a call center type role. Within that role, that's something that we do hire for a lot of the times in bulk with that. And that's something that doesn't necessarily require to have specific experience. So that's a role that somebody who graduated college or somebody who has professional experience within customer service, like that's transferable for that type of role that you'd be able to do. We do hire people in REM support. So that's the risk evaluation mitigation strategies. That's pretty specific in what that experience might look for, but that's something that people can grow within their roles, gain experience, and eventually work their way into. If we look at the evidence development, that's the clinical research side. Like that's more people who are within clinical research. So I know there's some degrees within clinical research. That's where that would come into play. We also hire folks within sales from a business development perspective, as well as like our corporate function. So HR, which I'm a part of, in talent acquisition. We hire folks in IT. We hire folks in legal and finance and all those other parts of the sporting business as well. So next I'm going to share with you a short video, and if there is no sound, please let me know and then try to adjust that. But yeah, I'll let you watch this video.
What first sparked my interest about UBC, I was most interested in the patient-first philosophy that we have here. It's always been really important to me to find a company that I feel like is doing good in the world and truly adding value and serving others.
I am so passionate about advocating for nurses and patients, and I get to do that each and every day. So I'm not only impacting patients, but I'm also impacting the nurses that I support in a way that I never thought that I could.
It's really impressive how much the people here care. They care about their work, they care about striving to do better, they care about the clients that we serve and partner with, and ultimately and always first, they care about the patient and their quality of life.
Working with the people, interacting, it's a very matrix dynamic team of everybody working from medical scientific services, technology services, clinical operations, all working together to develop solutions.
I get to collaborate across departments and segments, so I get a firsthand view of what really makes UBC special. I see the careful planning and evaluation that goes into designing our programs and studies, and how patients are at the center of everything we do.
Here at UBC, we're like a family in that not everything is perfect, right? This is clinical research. Things aren't always going to go to plan. But like a family, we trust each other, we support each other, we lift each other up. Also like a family, we celebrate. We celebrate first patient in, we celebrate database locks, births, marriages, retirements.
The benefit that we're able to see and bring real value to people's lives, we're able to directly see that and touch that.
I get to work with some of the smartest nurses that I know, and we have such a great work-life balance here, flexible work schedules, and just the opportunity to advance your career.
When people ask me why I've been at UBC for so long, the answer is very easy. It's the people. I have been able to learn so much from everyone and continue to learn. So I feel really lucky to work with such amazing people at UBC.
And that's what makes UBC special.
All right. And that wraps up the presentation that I had for all of you. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. You can find me. Sorry, I didn't put the link down here, but if you search Alexander Griffin and then UBC, I'll be popping right up there. So happy to connect with you. And then I think I already saw some questions coming through the chat, RJ, and then happy to answer some questions or anything else that you guys want to know.
Awesome, and thank you for going through all that information, Alex. First question that came in, for individuals that might be going through their bachelor's degree program right now, or let's say their master's program, and they have a few classes remaining, is it too early to go ahead and apply for some of these roles if they haven't officially completed the degree program yet? Maybe they're maybe a few months away, maybe it is only a month away, and they're looking to wrap up their degree program. When is a good time to actually go ahead and apply for those roles?
Yeah, it depends on the role that you'd essentially be going for. It's one of those customer service type roles, and then that's something that you could apply for now, right? If that's something that you're interested in, probably, like, I don't want to give out numbers, but like in the high teens as far as compensation goes per hour. But that's something that a high school diploma is the requirement for that. You get a degree, that's just a bonus, right? So that's something that you could apply for as you go. If it's something a little bit more specific, related to the job that requires more of that experience or degree requirement, we hire people pretty quickly. So our days to offer, so when a rec's open and then somebody accepts an offer is around 25 days. So I would say close to when you're graduating, probably that month of is probably the best time to do it.
And I guess a follow-up question to that, and maybe this is like, I saw that call center type of role. Do you all really promote these opportunities to internal candidates as far as that mobility within the organization? Like, would it be beneficial for people to, apply for roles that they might be interested in, but they're not really sold on, but really I think they'd be more interested in UBC as a whole. Like they're interested in the
Yeah.
organization. Do you all really promote those types of opportunities to internal candidates first, and then open it up to external?
Yeah, depending on the role, like a lot of times when we do open positions, like we want internal people to move throughout the organization. So if there's roles that we have a number of really, really great employees that's the next step in their career, we want to encourage that for people to get into that next step. Usually we have people within roles for at least a year before they are internally eligible to go to that next level within the organization. But that's something that, like, obviously with the time, training, everything else that goes into it, we want to make sure that you're able to make an impact on the organization. So if we look at that, so after a year, it's like, yeah, like we have roles that we want internal people to go for to grow within their role. If we don't have anybody internally, then yeah, we would go externally for that type for certain roles.
Awesome. And I think one thing with us here at WGU, and this ties into the next question, we do have a lot of people that have the hands-on experience, and they might be working in industry and decide. I know for Dewan's case, going back and getting an MBA. So are you all looking for professionals, and maybe it can be specific to tech or just in general? Like, do you have those opportunities that are more senior level, that do require, let's say, 5 to 10 years experience? Do you have those types of opportunities available?
Yeah, absolutely. And all of our roles are dependent on the needs of our clients, right? So we have projects with pharmaceutical companies that you see on TV in the middle of the news and stuff like that. So if when we have needs to grow and or needs to backfill or anything like that, like that's when we post roles. But it can be anywhere throughout the organization. Like we hire in bulk training classes a lot of times for like that call center type role, that reimbursement role, that case manager role, which are um, earlier career type roles for us. So we hire those that could be like we get a new program, we got to hire 15 to 30 people, this, that, and the other, and that comes. But like within other parts of the organization, when people get promoted, it might create an opportunity too. So there's I, I wouldn't even I think it'd probably be a fair mix that there's roles that are entry level, there's roles that are earlier professional career, there's mid career, there's later career type things that we're looking for all levels within the organization.
Is that clearly stated in those job descriptions as far as like experience? Like, hey, this is an entry level type of role?
I don't think it'll have entry level. Like I don't know if we use that terminology, but it'll be like professional experience,
Okay.
3 to 5 years, what like degree requirements, high school diploma requirements, things like that.
Awesome. And I saw that there was a comment or a question at that later on as I'm going through the chat here. Um, and in looking through it, and what I would tell people as well, when you're asking your questions, just keep in mind there's a ton of people on the call. So not trying to make it specifically like, hey, here's my current situation. What should I do? But keep it more general for everybody, just kind of looking through some of these. Um, it, you know, for individuals that might have a background in healthcare, and have that hands-on experience in healthcare, do you have specific roles that you might recommend for individuals with that healthcare background? What do those positions ultimately look like?
Yeah, it would depend. Like if you're on the floor nursing and you're looking to get off the floor, like we do hire nursing call center type roles that I think it's like nurse clinicians and other things like that that we have that you'd be able to apply for, and we look for people with that background with nursing licenses and things like that. So if it's hands on there, I think for some of the other roles, like any sort of healthcare experience is, and depending on where you are in your career, but it can be valuable for understanding aspects of what we do. Like if you work in, say, like an emergency clinic or something like that, not saying that this is an example or not, but say you work there, but you might need to know like how to look up insurance and see if people are eligible for certain things, or you work in the doctor's office or something like that. Like that's something that definitely is relative to the things that we do.
Awesome. And I think there's a few people that had asked specifically about some of those healthcare roles. I think Alex just really hit on answering those. Um, as far as internship opportunities,
Mhm.
do you all hire for those internship opportunities within the U.S.? Is it, is there specific times of year where you offer those internship opportunities? When should people keep an eye out for those coming down the pipeline?
Yeah, we don't have an internship program at the moment. That's something that we've started looking into. Like I think we had like one last year, but it was very, very specific to a legal need that we had, and it was more to hire a temporary employee for that. So we don't have any internships at the moment. Like we've had conversations about potentially doing co-op through some universities for like a 6 month type thing. Like if we were to go to something, I don't think it would be this year. Maybe in the next couple years, we'd probably look at a little bit longer term because of just like the training that would be required in order to make an impact on that. Like our model's a little bit different. Um, as opposed to some organizations that where when people are working for us, they're billable to a client, and that's something that there's an expectation of length with that. But if there are co-op internship opportunities, I think that would be something that we probably look at adding in like an HR, a finance, a legal, like some of those non-revenue generating roles to be able to be effective in that.
Awesome. Next question that came in, and I'll kind of spin this too to a question that I have. If individuals are interested in UBC's opportunities, Alex, is there a way, like, should they be reaching out to you and saying, hey, I attended the webinar during Career Quest with WGU. I'm really
Mhm.
interested in those opportunities. How can individuals really stand out during the
Yeah.
application process for you all? I know, especially with you all having remote opportunities, I'm
Mm.
sure you get a ton of applications. So how can individuals really stand out during that process?
Yeah, so when you apply, we use ADP as our applicant tracking system. I'm not going to tell you it's like the most fun application process and filling all that out. Like it's a little bit more intuitive in how it does things. But when you do apply, they're going to ask, how do you know about UBC? That's a great opportunity for you to be able to put in WGU, Career Quest, and everything like that. If you there are roles that you're specifically interested in, you can reach out to me if you feel inclined to talk about that. I also don't want to get 71 emails about different jobs and things like that. Like where it's something that really take it and assess if you really are perfect for that role. Like feel free to reach out to me, right? Like if it's a stretch, you're like, well, I think I could do that, something like that. Like I don't know if that would be um the right fit because like at the end of the day, like we're hiring people. Like it's something that like in assessing a job description and hiring, it's like you want to make sure you're the right fit for it. But like where we hire, it's like our job descriptions are fairly succinct in what we're looking for. If you don't meet those requirements, then you'll probably get there's ways in the system that it'll decline your application essentially. So yeah, like make sure it's the right ones, and you can feel free to reach out to me, and I'm happy to forward things along to my recruiting team to take a look at roles.
And then I'm going to put a little plug in here as well. One thing that WGU students and alums have access to that's newer through Career is JobScan, which helps with those applicant tracking systems. So you take a job description, you take your resume, you put it through JobScan, and it'll help you tailor your resume to that specific job description, as long as you meet the requirements that it's really asking for. So that's helpful to kind of go through those applicant tracking systems. Keep that in mind. You can access that through our careers page. So definitely give that a look. Next question that came in: what is typically the time frame with the application process, the interview process? What does that look like as far as the interview process? Can you provide more details on that? Does it differ depending on role?
It'll differ depending on hiring manager and different roles, but essentially the way the overall process works, you would apply to a role. A recruiter would probably assess your resume within, I would love to say a couple days, but it might be a week, it might be a couple weeks, depending on what the volume and everything looks like. Within having roles that are virtual, like you might get a lot of applications to it. So our recruiters are going through everything they can as quickly as they can. So then if you are selected for an interview, like the recruiter will reach out, you would have some sort of virtual interview. It could be one, two, three virtual interviews with different people. It could be panel interviews. It depends on the group, but you would have something like that. And then at that point, a hiring decision would be made, and then you would go through onboarding for us, which includes we do drug screens and we do background checks for all of our roles that we have. Like some roles that are higher level, we do credit checks as well. But that's just an overview of what we do.
Awesome. I know there was a question in here about the internship fair. I will post that link into the chat so you can access that. That's taking place on Wednesday. Next question that came in: how often are I don't know, is it REMS positions available to apply?
It depends. Like a lot of so REMS is interesting. It's a very close knit group. So if you have the experience, then yeah, it's like that's something like even if you have the experience, like you could probably reach out and I could probably just have the recruiter start networking with you now in preparation for roles that are coming up. It's just very specific and niche as far as what that looks like. But roles come up depend like again the need of our clients and the organization and as far as growth or as far as people leaving the organization, something like that.
Next question that came in, really pertaining to those remote roles. What as far as some of like what are some of the positions that aren't remote? Are there some set positions that are like you are required to go into office, or is everybody remote and then it's up to your own discretion as far as when to pop in if you are locally based?
Yeah, so like the roles that are required to be in office, it's sometimes it's like within IT, like if you're IT support, that needs to be tied to an office. Like office managers need to be in the office, like receptionists need to be in the office. Um, we have a very small pharmacy in St. Louis, so pharmacy technicians need to be in the office. So I think that's some like once in a while there are roles that are like especially within like our Lake Mary, so like Orlando, Florida area. Sometimes trainers need to be local to the area just because they have trainings that occur down in Florida. They want to cut on costs as far as um, travel goes and accommodation. So then they have somebody down there. But for the most part, um, I think that some of the hurdles that we see as far as remote goes, like if there's time difference issues that can happen, like we do operate typically on an East Coast Eastern Standard Time, but we have people in Central Time Zone as well. Sometimes being on the West Coast can be difficult for some of the roles that we have, but we do have like evening shifts and things like that too. So then, say it's an evening shift and you're out in California, then that might make a lot more sense as well because it's later in your day. It's not as much of an inconvenience for folks on the East Coast.
Awesome. Just a reminder, if people did jump in late, the session was recorded, so you can always go back and reference anything. I know Alex talked about, the remote opportunities that are available, all the different opportunities that are available. So I would encourage people definitely go back and or go listen to the presentation again as far as that recording. Does UBC, was Japan one of the locations abroad that you had?
We don't have any like locations there. Like we hire in Asia. A lot of time that's like on a consultancy basis. It's a lot of folks in probably Southeast Asia.
Okay. What tools does the resource management team rely on most day to day besides Excel?
It depend on the role. Like I think some roles we use like Salesforce. Sometimes we use different CRMs. Like um, sometimes depending on the client, they have different software and proprietary things that they want us to use based on that. So it does vary.
Next one that came in, do you hire U.S. citizens to fill roles abroad? Is relocation common?
Relocation is not common for us because we're a virtual organization. A lot of the times, like within the roles within Europe, like I know in England, they have some requirements of going into an office. That's things that are put into employment contracts and everything like that over there. So for us for the most part, like I don't think we would hire to move somebody to an international location. It'd probably be somebody's tap on the shoulder to do that internally.
And then I saw a question in there about the job scan. I just posted in the chat our careers page. If you go in there, you'll see all the different applications that you have access to. So certainly feel free to go through. So that is job scan, what the one platform that I was discussing. Would you consider the role of the patient services coordinator to be a heavy call center job?
I don't think that one would be heavy call center, but take a look at the job description. Like I'm not an expert at every job description that we have for every role that we have. So definitely the job description would probably tell you if it's more inbound, outbound, or it's like managing of caseloads essentially.
Awesome. Any data roles? Is there anything specific as far as data analytics? I know that's one program that we probably have some people in here from that program. Anything specific to data analytics that you know of, Alex?
I know we have like data warehouse roles that we have, like our ITs. I think there's some roles that are out there. It's not, we're not hiring a crazy amount within IT right now. But like we do have some roles. Like I know data warehouse is one. We've had IT QA analysts come up frequency. I think there's been some software engineering type roles that come up. So yeah, feel free. Like our careers page is going to be where those roles come in. Like our rec list changes probably monthly. Like that's probably like the turnover with it all. So if it's not there now, it might be there in a couple weeks.
Awesome. Next question that came in, Laura, great question. What are there any geographic stipulations to working remotely? Do you need to stay stateside if you're hired stateside?
Yeah, from tax purposes, yeah, like you have a location. Like I would say most of the role that you would have would be in that home location. Like that's kind of what the policy states. It's not like I've been at organizations where somebody wants to just drive a van around the country and kind of work off of some sort of Wi-Fi or hotspot or something like that. That doesn't necessarily work from a tax standpoint. So like the way that we're taxed, the way that the employee is going to be taxed, it's going to be based on that home location where the expectation is that you'd be in that. Like there's times where you might not be able, like I've done it before where I'm like traveling and I'm like I want to work or something like that. Like you can do that, but that's something that needs to be approved and it needs to be looked at in order to make sure that. But like internationally, like yeah, it's very difficult to do that. Like I was at a company before that was fully remote, and then somebody tried to work in like it was like Costa Rica for a month, where we couldn't allow that just based on we're not set up to be an LLC in every country, where it creates a lot of difficulty with taxes essentially, and IT as well.
As far as like sales types roles, is that something that you all usually have? What do those roles generally look like?
Yeah, we've had some inside sales roles recently. Like we're not a sales organization, so we do have a sales team that's bidding on work. We don't build out sales teams. Like I used to work at a company called Ashfield Healthcare. They're called Inizio now. That's a contract sales organization. Like they will build teams for clients to do inside sales, to like call docs and everything like that. So if you're interested in sales like that, like I would recommend looking at an organization like that as opposed to ours.
The next one, the clinical research opportunities. What are those positions usually? What do those look like as far as those opportunities? Are those 100% remote? What do those opportunities look like, Alex?
Yeah, most of those roles are going to be remote, like unless there's like some sort of site requirement that would happen. But as far as that goes, like we have clinical research associates, we have clinical research managers, we have trial managers, we have people who are doing that. It's not necessarily like any of the laboratory work that happens. It's more the managing of once people are taking this drug that's in trial, it's managing that as far as that goes.
One question that I have, and it always interests me, especially for remote roles, and you had mentioned it as far as like the culture. Um, what are some ways that you do engage your employees to try to make sure that that culture is well established? People aren't feeling siloed. What are some things that you all might do internally that
Yeah.
really help to build that culture at UBC?
Yeah, there's a micro and a macro way to look at it. Like from your team perspective, like the manager should be having stand-up meetings at some way, shape, or form, or having communication with you. So you should have that guidance as far as that goes. From an organization standpoint, like we have quarterly town halls that our leadership team puts on that talks to everybody. We have different like um, I guess we call it UBC Academy is what we call it, where we just learn about different parts of the business. If people have that, where it's open forums, we have different trainings that we do provide to the organization. We have like our own. It's like it's kind of I want to say it's like Facebook, but it's like a feed social media thing that we have that people can engage and get shout outs and everything like that too. We call it UBC Connect, so that's something that we do as well. But like a lot of it comes down to like managers creating that connectivity points with their team, and that's something that we have a lot of emphasis on.
Awesome. Reminder to everyone, session is being recorded. That will be sent out either later on today or tomorrow. So just keep an eye out for that, as long as the questionnaire. I'll give people, I don't see any other questions that came in through the chat, but another one that I have, and I guess for you, Alex, like, hey, what are some areas like, hey, we're trying to hire for people tomorrow? I know a lot of people on the call were interested in your opportunities. So I just want to make sure, like, hey, if there are high areas of need that you all are looking to actively bring in right now, like people are aware of that. So keep an eye out for that on the UBC careers page.
Yeah, I would say like I don't know if there's anything that's like hair on fire, we need to hire yesterday type thing at
Right,
the
right.
moment. Like we don't have like a lot of times we have like these bulk hiring classes. That's when we reach out to you, RJ, and then
Yeah.
post, and then you send it out to everybody. Like we don't have any like that at the moment, but like you'll see opportunities for us. A coordinating center associate. That's one that's probably continually hiring. So that one is something to look at. Our senior reimbursement specialist, like you'll see that quite frequently. I think we almost always have a couple openings that are there. Case managers are frequently open. I would say those are like the top three that we typically have there time, and that we have continual pipelines of people that we're always talking to in order to try to hire them when we need them.
Awesome. Great. I don't see any other questions in the chat. So before we sign off here, one, Alex, I want to thank you for jumping in and providing all this information, answering the questions that everyone does have. I want to thank everybody for jumping in this afternoon, this morning, wherever you might be tapping in from. As we kind of wrap up here, I do want to give you the floor, Alex. Anything that you wanted to kind of close on? Is there anything specific that maybe you really wanted, we didn't hit on that you feel like would be crucial for people to know? Just wanted to give you the floor to kind of to bring us home here.
No, I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you all about UBC. We've had a great working relationship with WGU, and we're always impressed by the folks that come through your university. So when I know when you interview with us, like you'll present yourselves well, and that's something that take the information that RJ and his team gets to you all, and try to apply that where you can. Like it definitely goes noticed. So I think with that, like overall, if there's the right opportunity, we're happy to try to get you in that. And if some of you are graduating soon, like the job market's better than it was a couple of years ago, but it's still a process, right? Like so. Don't get discouraged if you apply to a lot of jobs and you don't hear back and things like that. Like, unfortunately, that's kind of how things go. But like, eventually, you'll find the right thing, right? So, keep at it, and we're always here to try to help you. If you have any questions as far as job market or anything like that, like feel free to reach out to us, and we can tell you what we're seeing and our advice as far as how to navigate some of that as well.
Alex, we so appreciate you jumping in. I know that we've promoted out a few UBC opportunities to our students and alums here at WGU. I would encourage you to continue to check for those opportunities. Do you have opportunity alerts on your careers page, Alex? If they, if people are interested in opportunities, can they get an alert if jobs are posted? Do you know?
I don't think it's set up like that, unfortunately. Like
Okay.
we use ADP. Like I can talk about ADP another day, but like we use
Yeah.
that. Like it's functional. It's not necessarily proactive. So
Well,
another thing too, like just to kind of backtrack, like I put in my LinkedIn into the chat, so feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. Like I'm not gonna. You can just say in the note like you're from WGU, just so I'm not just getting bombarded. Like I don't know who all these people are, but yeah, I'll definitely take a look.
And I would encourage people, be on the lookout for these opportunities. So, check in and see what opportunities are posted every so often. See if there's anything that really jumps out to you. Reason why I wanted to loop in Alex, and UBC, it's great opportunities, and I think it fits what our students and our alumni are ultimately looking for. So certainly be on the lookout for those opportunities. But Alex, we so appreciate you jumping in today, sharing some great insight, answering questions, and hopefully we can set this up, do it again sometime in the near future, and continue to get these opportunities in front of our students. Like I said, I think they're great opportunities. They really fit with what I think people are looking for. So I would also, hey, make sure people are checking in here at UBC for these great opportunities. But Alex, thank you again for jumping in. We really do appreciate it.
Appreciate it. No, thank you.
Awesome, everyone. We'll have have a fantastic rest of the day. For those of you, check out the other sessions that we're going to be running this week for Career Quest. And then if anybody's interested in those internship opportunities, virtual fair on Wednesday. All right, everyone, have a fantastic rest of the day. And if you're in areas like me, stay warm, and hopefully you're staying safe out there. All right, take care. Bye.
Have a good one. Bye.